Did you know that Notion can be used as a powerful personal finance tool? In this video, we wanted to give you a template tour of our ultimate personal finance tracker Notion template, which includes monthly, quarterly, and yearly tracking, as well as debt and bank account management, recurring expenses, and more. If you find this useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. So when you first open up this template, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, we have a navigation bar where you can go to all of your pages, and these are synced across this template, so you can always return home to this page. And underneath here, we have our databases, which we recommend you not to delete. So this is just here to store it and make sure that it doesn't get lost. And then we have our accounts here. So these are all things like bank accounts, cash on hand, credit cards, and investments that you can store here. And then on the top, we have our dashboard where you can see your finances by month. So for example, March, February, January, and you'll see your budget graph, and so on. And then in here, we have our income, expenses, and transfer. So income is anything that you earn, expenses are anything that you've paid for, and then transfer is anything that involves moving money from one account here to another. So now we're going to go over the basic setup when you first start using this personal finance tracker. So we recommend you to first go to your account, and here you can just add a new account either through here or through add new. So we're just going to add one. So for example, this could be a example account, and you can put your bank name, your status, whether it's active or not, and the type. So we have 4 types of accounts. It's either an account, a credit card, cash, or investment. So in this case, it's going to be an account. And then you should put a starting balance. So whatever balance you have currently in this account right now, you can just put here. So if we have like $4,000 inside here, you can just put that as your starting balance. Any notes, URLs, files, and media. And then you can choose the bank account option. So now we have our example account. And we can click out. So that is going to be showing up here. So as another example, we're going to also add a credit card so that it's really clear how they are different. So then we're going to also add a example credit card. And you can put, again, the bank status, whether it's active, and the type. So if it's a credit card, your starting balance is likely 0, so you can just put 0. And every time you use your credit card, it's going to go to negative. And then you're able to do a bank transfer, which is going to get your card balance up again to 0, which is your ideal balance. And again, you can fill in all of these, and then you can choose credit card. So now if we click out, we also have our example credit card, example account. And cash basically works the same as your account, so we're not going to make another one. But as you can see, you can just put your starting balance that you have of cash and your current balance. So if, for example, you do a cash withdrawal from your bank account, you can add, for example, here 500, and that was added from another account that you transferred. So that's how we decided to go with this kind of account calculations. So now you can basically see your example card's balance is 0, your example account has $4,000, and so on. So these are all eligible to be used. And when you do deactivate it, it's going to show up here. So all you have to do is just change this to deactivated. And then you can also view all. So now after setting up the accounts, we recommend you to go to monthly reports. And here you would add a new month. So right now we already have March set up here, but if you click new month, you can basically set up those here as well. So for example, March 2024, and you would want to set up the start and end date. So you would go to end date and then put the 31st like this. Then you would put your budget, so how much money you plan to spend in March 2024. So if it's around 2,000, for example, you could put 2,000. And then here it's going to show you automatically your budget graph, so how much you've actually spent out of the 2,000. Then you also have a place that's calculating your expenses that you haven't paid yet, expenses that you have paid, and then your income. And inside the page, it gets loaded automatically, your monthly goals. So for example, you could write things like, I want to save X amount of money, or I want to pay this much debt, or so on, can go into the monthly goals. And then you can see a view of your expenses and so on. But the main thing is just to make sure to create your monthly tracking report here by clicking plus new month or through here when you start using this template or whenever the new month starts, to make sure to add this. So the next thing we recommend you to do is go into quarterly reports and do the same thing. So you want to click new quarter, and when you click new quarter, it's going to set this up for you. So for example, if it was Q1, then you would want to put the start and end time like this, end date, and then go back to January and set it up to be around the end of March like this. And then here you'll see automatically expenses paid, total income, and ending balance like this. So you don't have to touch this, it gets automatically calculated, and you can see all of your expenses, income, and transfers inside here. Then the next thing we recommend you to do is then to go to your monthly recurring expenses here and set this up. So any kind of monthly costs that you have, you can put inside your cost chart. So let's say that we have a Hulu subscription. You could put something like this and then put a number here, the amount that it costs per month. And when you open this up, you're going to see that there is this day due, and that just means that you want to put the day that it is due every month. So let's say that this one is always due on the 8th of the month, then it's going to show up as March 8th, that the next due date. So make sure to add the day due here. And then you can choose the type. So this is a subscription, and you can put things like URL files and media. But it's really important to set up all of your recurring costs here at the start. And then later you can tag it and it's going to show up in your recurring expense tracker. So make sure to set this up. And this way you can also see how much you have to spend per month regularly that you know of. So this can be super useful as well. Then the next thing we recommend you to set up is if you have any kind of debt. So if you have a debt, you can just click this button and then add a new one. So let's say that you have another student loan, and here you can put the original amount. So let's say that it was 10,000, but then the interest rate is 10%. And then you can put an estimated total, and these kinds of loan totals can be calculated online. So you just need to find a calculator and you can enter how long it's going to take you to pay the loan and so on. But let's say that in the end, when you're finished paying, it's going to be like 15,000 in the end. So then you have your remaining balance updated like this, and then the total paid. So this you just have to enter manually depending on your payment plan and your estimated total by the end. So this can be updated whenever you need, and then total paid is going to be updated. So we're going to name this example student loan so you can see how this works in the next step. And when you do finish a loan, you can simply click the complete button like this. And if you want to add a cover photo, you can simply go here and add cover. So now we're ready to actually use this template. So we're going to go back to return home. So if we're in March, you can simply click it open and then start using it. So let's say that we just paid for groceries. So we can put groceries here. The amount was $40. The category is going to go into groceries. And then here, the payment method, you can see all of your current accounts here. So for example, we added now an example credit card. So we're going to choose that as our payment method. The date we paid, let's say, is today. And here it's really important that you've also tagged it with the correct monthly tracker and the correct quarterly tracker. So if we're in Q1, we want to make sure that's tagged like this. And then whether or not this is a debt payment or recurring cost tracker. So that's another thing you have to make sure to fill in. But in the case of groceries, this is all good. And if we click out, now you can see that our credit card that we added is now minus 40 like this. So this takes us to the next step, which is that we can also show that you can transfer. So if we click add transfer, now we can say credit card payment, and let's say the type is credit card payment, and we're going to take money from our example account and then put it towards our example credit card, and the amount we're going to transfer is $40 to pay for everything. And then you can also fill in the monthly tracker. So this is in March, quarterly tracker is Q1, and anything else you want to add here, URL, files, and media or notes. And then if we click out, you can now see that you've made a credit card payment here in the transfers, and your credit card balance should go now to 0 like this. So in this way, you can really keep track of your credit card payments and your credit card spending and so on. And if we go now to our example credit card, you can now see that we've paid for groceries using it, but we also have a transfer to account, which is that we transferred from example account to example credit card. So the next thing we wanted to show you is, let's say that now we're going to add a expense, which is for our Hulu subscription. And let's say this cost $15. And this is a entertainment category. And the payment method, we used our example account. And then we can put monthly tracker like this, and make sure to fill in quarterly tracker like this. And then here in the recurring cost tracker, make sure to tag this by whatever it is that you're tracking. So this is going to now show up in our subscription. So if we go to monthly recurring costs, we can now see that we have paid for this subscription this month. So it's going to show up in your expense tracker, but this is mainly for view only. So we're going to return home. So now let's say that you have an unpaid bill that you need to pay soon. So you can now click plus new here, and we can name this one gas bill. And let's say the amount is 50. And the category is going to go to utilities, payment method. You can choose, for example, the example credit card. And again, you have to make sure to fill all of these in to make sure that everything is showing up in your tracker. And it's not a debt payment or a recurring cost, so we can just keep it like this. And now we can see that the ending balance is now negative 55 because we have paid 55, we have due 50, but we don't have any income. So then we can actually add an income. So let's say that now we got a salary and the amount was 3,000, and the type is salary. Accounts where it's going to is our example account. Then we have to make sure to put our monthly tracker, quarterly tracker, and then anything else we might need here. So then if we click out, then we have 3,000 in. So now we can see on our monthly tracker here that we have income 3,000 and our ending balance is way higher now. And we can click here and also make sure to set a budget. So let's say our budget is 2,000. So now we can see that we've spent 3% of our budget graph. So the next thing we wanted to show you is what if you have a debt payment. So let's go to here and click plus new. And let's say that we want to add a payment for our student loan. And the amount is $300. And this is a loans category. And the money is going from our example account. And then we're going to tag this March 2024. We need to make sure it's Q1. And this time it's a debt payment. So we're going to click here and put the example student loan. So now we have paid this amount for our example student loan. So if we go back to our debt tracker, now you can see that we have here paid 300. And it has been subtracted from our estimated total and shows up outside like this as 3%. So now if we go to our quarterly report, you can see that the income was 5,200, expenses paid is 2,120, and ending balance right now is 3,080. So then if we click it open, you can see what charges you have this quarter that you haven't paid and what you have paid. and your income and transfers all in one place. And again, we recommend this mainly as a view only type page. And we can go back to home. And some other types of transfers that you can do is, for example, cash withdrawal. So withdrawal. And let's say that we took out $200 from the ATM and it is a cash withdrawal. And we take it from the example account and we're going to put it to our cash. And then we can put our monthly tracker here and our Q1 like this. So now if we check our cash on hand, we'll see that it's been updated. So we have this transfer that came in March like this. And if we go to example account, we can now see that the money has actually been taken out. So we can see here that our transfer from account, so $240 has been taken out from here for cash withdrawal and credit card payment. So now what we wanted to show you is that if you wanted to change the currency of this template, you can do so easily, but it does take a little bit of configuration. So for example, here we see the budget in dollars. So you'd have to click here and change this into whatever currency you're using. So if it's euro, you'd have to manually change this to euro. So everywhere you see that, you'll have to change it, but make sure not to touch the actual formulas. So these are all just display formulas. So be sure not to touch these at all, except the dollar marker if you want to change the currency. And for example, this kind of currency, you can change easily by clicking the property, edit property, and then change the number format to any of these that are available if you want to see it calculated in other currencies. So it does take a little bit of manual work, but if you wanted to change everything into dollars, that's also very possible. You just have to make sure to click and configure those. The other thing we wanted to mention is that this template comes with a cover photo bundle. So as you can see, we have March here, February here, January here, as well as in the quarterly reports, we have Q1 and all of these, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So we have them in 3 different color schemes, and if you want to change your cover photos to those, you can just simply download them from our zipped file, and then you just need to click the change cover and then you can upload them. So any of the cover photos you like, you can just upload. And some other important things to note is that we highly recommend you to use this tracker mainly through this dashboard here if you're adding expenses during the month, and make sure to always tag it with the correct monthly tracker and quarterly tracker, as well as if it's connected to any kind of debt payment or recurring cost to get the full benefit out of this template. You can also add it through, for example, the month view, but make sure also that when you do add it through the month view that it's also in the correct monthly tracker, quarterly tracker like this, so that it is definitely connected to whatever you need to see, as well as the debt payment and recurring costs. And if for some reason you cannot find a payment or income or expense somewhere in here because it's by this month and you wanted to see something in the past or in the future, you can go to the income, expense, and transfer page here and go to by month. So this way you can see all of March data, all of your February expenses, and keep track of it that way. So if you do accidentally forget to track it with these tags here, the quarterly, the monthly, recurring, or debt payment, you can easily find all of that information by going to income, expense, transfer, going to by month tab, and you'll see it by month. And also here as well, you can go to by month and see that information, as well as in the transfer by month as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this template, the link is in the description. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let us know, and we hope to see you in the next video.